We'll start with the fatal accident that happened Saturday night. This was just about 11:40 p.m. This was a two-car accident. We had two people in one car and four people in another car. We had one car that was driving east on Arrowhead Parkway, and we had another one that was on Highline Avenue and was waiting to make a turn, I believe, to head west. So at that intersection, there's controlled by lights, basically. So you've got your red lights and your green lights. There are some traffic cameras in that area, so that really helps to, establish exactly what happened. But the light turned green for the Chrysler Sebring, which was on Highline Avenue, and as that Sebring entered the intersection, the Subaru Impreza ran a red light and crashed into the side of the Chrysler, essentially a T-bone accident. We did have one witness that said they estimated the speed at the Subaru was driving was around 100 miles an hour. There was a tremendous impact that happened. We had two people that died in the Chrysler Sebring. There was basically everybody was taken to the hospital. So the 2006 black Subaru Impreza, there was a 23-year-old driver and a 23-year-old passenger, both men, both from Sioux Falls. The driver has life-threatening injuries. The passenger has non-life-threatening injuries. The driver, the 2007 silver Chrysler Sebring, the driver is a 17-year-old who died. His last name is Velasquez, Velasquez. First is Javier, Javier. Middle is Edgardo, Edgardo, and he's from Brandon. The passenger of the Chrysler also died. He's 20. We're going to keep his name for a minute, basically to identify or let the relatives know. And then in the back seat of that car, we had a 17-year-old girl from Sioux Falls and a 16-year-old boy from Sioux Falls. They were both taken to the hospital with serious injuries. One of the other things, I guess, to note is, especially after reviewing the camera, there were other vehicles that witnessed this accident but then left before police arrived. So what we'd ask is if anybody happened to witness that accident, that they would call police just so we can get their information as well. But speed is definitely a factor with this one. I saw some pictures of the cars, and it was just total devastation. I mean, that's really the only way to describe that. So our accident reconstruction guys, that team, will put together exactly what happened. And one of the things they look for is minimum speed. So that's one of the things they'll look to determine to find out if that speed is accurate. But obviously it was a very high speed before the accident happened. And they don't have any indication if drugs or alcohol. That'll be part of the investigation as well. A lot of that is dependent on getting the blood and getting the toxicology screen to find out the amounts, if there are any.
So there was four people inside the Chrysler and it was T-boned by the Subaru?
Yep, the four people inside the Chrysler, and it was hit on the driver's side by the Subaru, and the two people were in the Subaru.
They got the green light. Go.
The Chrysler got the green light and entered the intersection, and then and so they were basically, I don't think they had even started to make the turn yet. They had just entered the intersection going straight, and then the Subaru ran the red light and ran right into the side of the driver's side.
Essentially a T-bone accident.
Yep.
Sam, can you walk us through what happens as far as charges from here?
Well, the driver of the Subaru, he's still in the hospital. So the main thing with this is, first of all, to figure out exactly what happened. And so once they finish the reconstruction on this crash, they'll be able to obviously have all the factors, whether drugs, alcohol, what the speed was. Like I said, it was captured on traffic cameras, so the lights it's already been determined. But once everything is complete, then they'll send that information over to the state's attorney's office. They will review it and ultimately decide, what charges would be appropriate.
Would the driver be charged incorrectly, not the passenger then in that?
No, the passenger wouldn't be charged with anything. But, yeah, it'd be the driver because they're operating the vehicle.
He was the one that had life-threatening injuries?
The driver has life-threatening injuries, right? Of the Subaru, yep.
And his passenger just had, minor?
They were non-life-threatening injuries. I guess I don't know exactly the extent of the injuries, but they were, I think, everybody involved, they were pretty substantial injuries.
And both the driver and the passenger of the Subaru were 23-year-old males?
Correct, yep. Both of them are 23, the Subaru driver and passenger.
The passenger of the Chrysler was a 20-year-old male, you said?
20-year-old male, yep. He's from Sioux Falls.
Did traffic cameras show that Subaru was speeding through other intersections beforehand at all?
That I don't know. I mean, the city has different traffic cameras around, and it's not every single intersection, so I'm not sure. I guess I don't know their direction, where they came from, or if it was picked up on any of their traffic cameras. But that's one of the things that the investigators will look at, is they'll dig through the different cameras around to find out if there were, traveling at high rates of speed at other points, or possibly where they were going or coming from.
That's what I was curious, because if they're going that fast, they're obviously speeding through possibly other intersections.
Right,
too, so.
yep.
Was alcohol or any drugs?
There wasn't any drugs or alcohol found that I'm aware of, but that's one of the things that also, when they go through these serious accidents, they go through the cars, and there'll be a search warrant that gets served, and so they'll do a more extensive, basically digging through everything. So there's a chance they may find something. Sometimes that comes up. Obviously, the main focus of that is to look at the car itself, get details from it to make sure everything. I mean, from whether it was operating properly to getting the boxes inside the car that record the crash data. There's a lot of in-depth processing of those cars that'll happen. And one of the things, if they find anything, then obviously that would be noted as well. But like I said, early on at this point, there's no indication of drugs or alcohol, but that's all part of the investigation, so that may come out later if anything was found.
This happened at 11:40 that night.
11:40 p.m., yep, on Saturday night.
And so kind of right now, you guys are kind of doing a reconstruction of it. But you said there was other cars at that scene too, that kind of, where
Yeah.
the people report if they want to.
Well, the best thing they can do is just call the police department. Like I said, we're looking for witnesses, and so we're just looking to find out what they saw, and who knows, there may be something that they saw that the traffic cameras didn't pick up, or maybe some other witness didn't notice. So we just like them to call the police department, 367-7212, and then ask to talk to a traffic investigator, and they can give the information from there. And the accident reconstruction, it's not a fast process. As you can imagine, there's a lot of details to process with this, and there's a lot of physics that's involved as well. So it may be a few weeks before they're finished with that, and then on top of that, they have to wait for the toxicology, which could take 4 to 6 weeks for those to come back. Everybody good on that? Okay.